Morning, everybody. Happy Monday. I hope you're having a happy Monday. And if you're not, I hope it's happy once we're done here today. I've assembled some happy colors. I have one of my happy hooks. We're going to crochet ourselves a happy dishcloth. I would like to thank Nico before we get started for gifting a membership. Thank you so much, Nico. And thank you all of you for your patience this morning. We had a little puppy accident, which required some attention, immediate attention, if you know what I'm talking about. But we are cleaned up. We are ready to go. So here we go. We made a V-Stitch dishcloth several years ago now on the channel. We have a tutorial for it. I'll make sure that's linked in the description box of this live stream as soon as the live stream's done today. We also have a free pattern for it. Free pattern is available on the pattern workshop page of our workshop. Mr. InStitches has got a photo up there of what the original V-Stitch dishcloth looks like. It's a favorite. It's a great way to practice a smaller V-stitch because we use the half double crochet V-stitch. It's not so much of a yarn eater, so it's a good little scrap project if you've got some scrap cotton lying around. And in keeping with one of the things I said in an earlier video early this year, making things with intention, making things that are useful is a great way to crochet, practice a stitch, and have a use for that thing so it doesn't end up cluttering up your, space. If you are the type of person who creates a make-ahead stash, dishcloths, washcloths, an excellent thing for the make-ahead stash. They always make a nice little gift. They are sellable. So if you do craft sales or church bazaars or elementary school craft sales or something, then a stack of dishcloths, they often get sold pretty quickly. People like homemade dishcloths because they're usually solid, strong, they're pretty, they look nice. So we're going to make a dishcloth today. Now, rather than just make it all one color, I thought it would be fun to stripe it. And I have reached for some nice, cheerful, bright, springy, summery colors because it's January and I don't want to think about 3 months of winter. I want to think about happy, bright, warm colors. So that's what I'm going to use today. I am using a 4.5mm hook. It's also known as a size 7. I've got a pair of scissors, a yarn needle. I've even got a little stitch clip or a stitch marker. It can be helpful, especially if you have trouble seeing the shorter rows of half double crochet V-stitch. So let's get started. I'm going to start with my this is like a really rosy pink. It's a rich pink. I think it's a hot pink. I've got an aqua and a green, and I'm going to just start with the pink. I'm going to do 3 rows of, I should say 5 rows per color. So it's 15 rows in total before we add the border, 15 rows of a half double crochet V-stitch. So I'm going to do 5 rows per color, and then I'm going to put on a border. So nice and simple. Here we go. I'm starting with this pretty pink. I'm going to put my other colors to the side. Make sure I've got some. There we go. So scissors. And here we go. We are going to start with a slip knot. Nice and easy peasy. Don't worry about your tails. You can work over top of them as you work in the border. We're going to chain 30. That's 30 to begin. So that's 30 chains to begin. This is built over, it's a multiple of 3. So we're going to use, you can really use any multiple of 3, but I feel 30 is a nice place to start. Amanda's asking, is it 27 cotton? No, this is just regular 100% cotton. Actually, this is the Bernat Handicrafter. So this is the cotton I like to use for dishcloths because it's kind of on the rough side. You can see it's not like, it's not super fine. It's certainly not mercerized. It's just actually makes really good dishcloths. So that's what I like to use for dishcloths. But, you know, you can use whatever you've got lying on hand. I prefer that, I prefer the kind of the workhorse cotton for a dishcloth because it's already a little on the kind of the rougher side. So that's what I'm using today. But like I said, you can use whatever you like, so long as it's cotton or mostly cotton. We are going to skip the first 3 stitches from the hook, and we are going to find the 4th chain. So we're looking for the 4th chain from the hook. Let's see, I got my glasses on. 1, 2, 3, here's number 4. And we're going to start with a half double crochet V-stitch in that 4th chain. So we create a half double crochet. That first one sometimes gets me. Chain 1 and half double crochet all into the same chain. So half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet. And that little chain 2, so there's like the 3 chains that we skipped actually counts as a sort of a chain 2 plus 1 chain. The chain 2 counts as a half double crochet. And then the 3rd chain is like the little spacer in between what's pretending to be a half double crochet and the first half double crochet V-stitch. The half double crochet V-stitch is short. It's shorter than a regular double crochet V-stitch, so it's a little more tricky to see. You get a few rows in and you can see it, but it's a lot easier to see than a single crochet V-stitch. So that's why I kind of like it for the dishcloth, because it's a little more compact, but it still lets the suds through, so I like it. We're going to skip 2 chains, find the 3rd chain, and work a half double crochet V-stitch into the 3rd chain. That's half double crochet, chain 1, and half double crochet all worked into the same chain. And that's it all the way across. You skip 2 chains, find the 3rd, and work a half double crochet V-stitch, half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet. And now you can sort of see that half double crochet stitch, the half double crochet V-stitch starting, does look a lot different than a regular double crochet V-stitch. Skip 2 chains, half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet, skip 2 chains, find the 3rd, half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet. I notice some of you have been having trouble getting your notifications. The notifications aren't working, or they're just, maybe they stopped working. I want to just ask you all to remember to double check that you're still subscribed, and pop into your notifications to make sure that they're on. So a couple things could be happening. You could have been unsubscribed. You could have had your notifications turned off. Not your doing. That's the YouTube's weird software, or it could be your own software device just needs to be updated, or maybe your YouTube software needs to be updated. I just was monkeying around. I kind of opened up YouTube yesterday and I had a notification for a channel I don't follow. And I clicked on it to say, don't show me this. And it said, oh, turn off notifications for this channel. And I was like, yes, I'm not even subscribed. Why am I getting notifications for this? So YouTube's up to it, their old tricks again. So you're just going to want to double check that you're subscribed and that your notifications are turned on, because it's very likely that they were turned off on you. Once you get all the way across to the end, you're going to have 2 chains left after your last half double crochet V-stitch. Skip 1 chain and half double crochet into the very last chain. So each row begins with a chain 2, which counts as a half double crochet. You skip 2 chains, work a half double crochet V-stitch into every 3rd chain across, skip the second last chain, and then half double crochet into the last chain. And that's it. All you have to do for every single row going forward. So that's the first row of the half double crochet V-stitch for this dishcloth. Chain 2 at the beginning of every row, or at the end of every row, however you want to look at it. Turn. The chain 2 counts as a half double crochet, and then you're looking for the middle of each V-stitch from the previous row all the way across. Now, like I said, the half double crochet V-stitch is pretty short. It makes it a good stitch for a dishcloth, but it can be a little tricky to see that middle of the V-stitch. So this is one of those patterns where you can quite comfortably feel your way across. You just find the little V-stitch, kind of rub your thumb and finger together, and the chain 1 space will open up for you. You're going to work a half double crochet V-stitch. So half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet into the middle of each V-stitch. So you pull it apart, you can see there's the V-stitch. Rub your thumb and forefinger together and the little space opens up. half double crochet V-stitch into the middle of each V-stitch from the previous row. And like I said, if you have to sort of pull it apart, you can sort of see where the V-stitch is because it's all worked into one chain. And then you just rub your thumb and forefinger together over top of it, and the little space will open up for you, and you can work a half double crochet V-stitch into it. Find the next one, and you're just going to do this all the way across. A big ding! Hello, everybody! Kelly! Kelly's been a member for 34 months! Thank you, Kelly! Kelly with a membership milestone says, working on a Tunisian snowy sampler blanket. That sounds pretty and very timely. I'm looking out my window at a lot of snow at the moment. Glad everybody's got a little something to keep their fingers occupied today. I definitely like to start the new year with a fresh set of dishcloths. It's like changing the batteries in the smoke detector. I like to have a new set of dishcloths. Into the top of the chain 2 from the previous row, you're going to find the top of the chain 2 and you're going to half double crochet into the top of it. That's how the row ends, with a half double crochet in the top of the chain 2 that you used for turning. And you'll have the same number of half double crochet V-stitches all the way across, which is 9. You'll have 9 half double crochet V-stitches in each row going forward. Another ding ding, Carrie! Carrie has gifted a membership. Thank you so much, Carrie. And congratulations to Karen. Karen won it. Welcome back, Karen. Okay, that's 2 rows in. It's a little bit easier to see the pattern now. You can also just sort of pause and like pull up on your work. Feel free to be kind of rough with this. This is a cotton piece of work, and you can sort of see the rows. It's also, you can sort of see that every single V-stitch will be anchored in the V-stitch from the row previous. So once we get a few more rows in, it'll be a lot easier to see. Sandra, another ding ding. Hello, Sandra. Sandra's been a member for 19 months. Thank you, Sandra. Sandra says, with a membership milestone, I can't believe it has been 19 months already. I know. Where does the time go? I think I was just sort of welcoming everybody to 2024, and now I'm welcoming everybody to 2025. I'm not quite sure why. It's almost like we've slipped into some sort of a weird time machine. I think time is moving faster than it used to. I mean, it must be, right? Chain 2, turn, and then look for the first V-stitch, half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet into the middle of each V-stitch all the way across. You'll have 9 V-stitches. I'm going to do 5 rows per color. And like I said, if you get lost, just kind of pause, pull it apart. You'll see the V-stitch. Once you get a few rows in, it's a little easier to see it. I really like this stitch for a lot of things. It's a nice mindless stitch. It's pretty. It makes a really cute sweater. It makes a cute little baby blanket. It makes cute hats, mitts, gloves, like scarves and cowls and whatnot. It's a really nice basic stitch, but I just really like it for dishcloths too, because it's a nice sudser. It's strong, but it suds nicely too. So one of my faves. And when you get all the way across, you've put a V-stitch in the top of your last V-stitch. You'll have the little chain 2 from the last row. Find the top of it and half double crochet into the top of the chain 2. So the row begins with a chain 2, that counts as a half double crochet. The row ends with a half double crochet in the top of the chain 2 from the previous row. So now I've done 3 rows. And if I pull it apart, you can sort of see here's a V-stitch, here's one right above it, here's one right above it. So 1, 2, 3. I can sort of count my rows that way. I got 2 more rows to do with this hot pink, chain 2, turn, half double crochet into the middle of each V-stitch all the way across. And then I'm going to change colors. I think the biggest challenge I have with a little dishcloth like this is actually using the yarn. So I like this yarn for making dishcloths, But this yarn is also kind of loosely spun, this particular Bernat Handicrafter. So I have to make sure that I'm not splitting my yarn as I'm spinning my hook around to create the stitches. And I find that the size 4.5 millimeter, or the size 7 crochet hook, is about as small as I can go and avoid the splitting issues. So that's about as small a hook as I can use with this yarn. And not kind of constantly find myself splitting the yarn. I was trying with a slightly smaller hook earlier, like the G6, but I split the yarn too much. It's just too small. So this one is about as small as I can go, but that's fine. This is a size 4 medium weight yarn, and it's a real size 4. It's right in the smack in the middle of the 4 weight category. Ding ding! Hi Masha! Masha's here! Masha's been a member for 10 months! Thank you, Masha! With a membership milestone, Masha says, sitting in the car, surrounded by snow, watching you. Yay for crochet, not yay for snow. I agree. Yay for crochet, not yay for snow. I'm afraid we've got a few more months of it yet. But the spring will be here sooner rather than later. Obviously it must. If the time is flying by as fast as it is, that only means that the winter will be short-lived. So there's pros for everything. Time moving too quickly, that just means you get to spring faster. I'll take that. See, a lot of people asking about the calendar blanket. Information on that comes in the middle of the month. We usually launch our calendar blanket in the middle of the month. So if you've missed the first live stream of the year, if you missed the first few posts, if you missed the first video of the year, that's a lot to miss. But if you did, we were talking about it in all of that. So that's the scoop. So we will have information for you on that coming soon. All right. Ending the row with a half double crochet. That is now 5 rows of the half double crochet V-stitch. So if I kind of grab the middle and I pull up, here's row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, row 5. And what I'm doing is I'm finding the middle of V-stitches because I know they're all stacked directly on top of each other. I feel that's the easiest way to count your rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. So that's 5 rows. I'm going to cut my yarn, fasten off, and I'm going to join a new color now because I want 3 happy bold stripes in this little V-stitch dishcloth. Hello, Crocus. Crocus is also in the house. Crocus has been a member for 23 months. Thank you, Crocus. And with her membership milestone, she says, Happy New Year, Jayda, and Mr. and Penny. Happy New Year to you too. Yes. Happy New Year. Welcome to 2025. We're going to make sure 2025 is a good year. We are going to thrive in 2025. And I'm going to find the middle of this ball. Maybe. Oh well, even if I end up pulling out the innards, doesn't really matter. I do need a good chunk of it. There we go. All right, I'm switching to this aqua. I love aqua. It's one of my favorite colors. The pattern doesn't change, but when you're joining a new yarn, you can join with a half double crochet, you can join with a slip stitch and a chain 2, but either way, you're going to join in the top of the last stitch you made. So I'm going to try joining with a half double crochet. So I'm going to hang on to the little tail that I just made. I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to slip my hook into the top of that first stitch, pick up a loop, and I'm trying to maintain some tension here because my biggest problem when I join with a double crochet or with a half double crochet is that I end up with too loose of a stitch. So I'm going to try, since it's just a double crochet, or since it's a dishcloth, it's a nice little way to practice things like that. So for me, I feel that's a little too loose, but it's a dishcloth. I'm not going to stress it too much. If you don't like the way that looks, or you also struggle with joining with things that are taller than single crochets, you can join with a slip stitch and chain 2. No big deal. Feel free to do whatever you like. I'm going to leave my tails out and I'm going to single crochet over top of them when I do the border. And the pattern continues. I'm just looking for the next V-stitch. I'm going to work a half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet V-stitch into the middle of the previous row's V-stitch. And of course, it will be really easy to see that row of V-stitches after I have finished this row in the new color. And I'm just working along. You're going to have 9 V-stitches in each row, so the number of V-stitches doesn't change. Crocus is going to fold this in half and make an eyeglass holder. Love it. Nico, our gifting ninja in the house, gifting another membership. Thank you so much, Nico. Nico, congratulations, Tracy. Tracy's won it. Welcome to the family, Tracy. Thank you, Nico. And a half double crochet in the top of the chain 2 from the previous row. That completes the first row in the second color. So now you can really see that V-stitch, and you can see that it's built into the V-stitch from the previous row. I really love this. I just love this stitch. It's so simple. Chain 2, turn, and same thing. Half double crochet V-stitch into the middle of each V-stitch all the way across. I'm going to do 5 rows of this little half double crochet V-stitch in each of my 3 colors, and then I'm going to use either one of these 3 colors for the border, or I might just grab a 4th color, why not? And do a border in a completely different color. My goal here was to make something colorful because that makes me happy. I want to practice my half double crochet V-stitch. I wanted something useful. I need a new stack of dishcloths, and I really love the half double crochet V-stitch. It's one of my favorites for dishcloths. And it's nice and quick. It's not a yarn eater. Half double crochet in the top of the half double crochet that I joined with. I really do feel like it's a bit on the loose side, but no matter. There we go. So there's my second row of the V-stitch. So I'm 7 rows in now. I'll be doing 15 rows in total, so I'll have a nice square, chain 2, turn, and continue. V-stitch in each V-stitch all the way across. Hello, Bethany. Bethany B is in the house with a membership milestone. Bethany has been a member for 70 months. Wow. Thank you so much, Bethany. Bethany says, Happy New Year. Just hanging out and watching with my newest little C. Is still sleeping. Hello, little C. Can't wait to see what projects you have in mind this year. My Joann's closed, so I bought a ton of yarn. It's 70% off. Score? Holy cow. Oh my gosh. You could practically start a whole second store for prices like that. That's fantastic. I'm sorry that your Joann's closed, though. That is a bummer. That is a bummer. Does anybody, if you've had your craft show or craft store close, your closest craft store, does that mean you guys, like, do you have other options in town, or is your next closest available store quite a hike away? I'm curious. What's everybody experiencing out there? We really don't have too many chain craft stores in this country. We've got Michael's, but we don't have Joann's, we don't have Hobby Lobby, we don't have anything like that. We used to have one in the mall called, oh, what was it called? Hon, do you remember the name of that one? In the mall? We used to have White Rose. I really loved White Rose. White Rose was kind of half nursery, half craft supplies.
We have a lot of like small chains.
Yeah, and then there was...
They have maybe 5 stores across the country.
There was one that was in the malls, and it was called... yeah, Stedman's was a little department store. The one in the mall was called... Oh, it was a craft store, and I think it had a name that started... Lewis Craft. That was it.
Shell remember.
Thanks, Shell. Shell's in the house. Shell knows what's going on. Yes, Lewis Craft.
Man, that's going back.
That's going back. I know. I still have products that have the Lewis Craft labeling on it. I really liked Lewis Craft. It was a neat little store. It was never very big. It was never like a big store in the mall. It was always kind of one of the smaller, narrower ones. But
Rose closed a long time.
yeah, and I miss White Rose.
I think it was like the early 2000s or something.
I liked White Rose. They had all sorts of neat stuff in there. We've got, in Ontario, we have a store called Fabricland, and they sell mainly fabric, occasionally a little bit of yarn, but mostly fabric.
Someone's saying Hobby Lobby and Michaels have decreased their yarn by almost half.
Wow. I wonder why. What are they replacing it with? If a store's... Yeah, the diamond painting's becoming pretty big. Hello, Sheila. Sheila Price. Prince, pardon me. Sheila P. Member for 7 months. Thank you, Sheila. Popping in with a little membership milestone. Thank you, thank you. We've also got, in Ontario, at least Southern Ontario, we've got a little series of stores called the Lens Mills. They're kind of a crafter outlet. I like them. They're good.
Actually really good.
Yeah. And I usually order from them online because they have free shipping in Canada. And they're good. Everything arrives nice and neat and tidy. On time when they say it's going to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was a fast 5 rows. Okay, that's the turquoise complete. And now into my lime green. This is a happy colored.
You're going with the Neapolitan style.
Does this look Neapolitan to you?
Well, it's not the right colors, but it makes me think of the ice cream. Yes.
Yeah, it's that whole like yeah, thick colorful stripes. Makes you happy. There we go. Joining with a half double crochet. I'm trying to practice that. One of my little tiny resolutions, not necessarily for 2025, but in general, is to get better at little tiny techniques that have given me trouble before. For example, joining my colors or my yarn with a stitch that's taller than a single crochet. I have no trouble joining with a slip stitch. I have no trouble joining with a single crochet, but joining with anything taller than that gives me pause.
So Joanna has a Mary Maxim and a Lens Mill near her, so she's set.
Oh man, that's nice. Yeah, Mary Maxim. Mary Maxim has the one main outlet in Paris, which if you're ever in Paris, Ontario, please visit Mary Maxim. It is just the sweetest little shop. I really love going there. It used to be, but I think it's just shipping now in Michigan. I think it's just I think the Mary Maxim in Michigan is just a shipping outlet. Yeah, I don't think they're open anymore. There I go. There's first row of the new color in. Oh, this is going to be a happy dishcloth. Happy dishcloth. I love bright colors, especially in the sink and especially in the winter. I need those bright colors to kind of cheer me up. I like boldly colored dishcloths. I like dishcloths that are on theme. I like dishcloths that have appliques on them. I pretty much love dishcloths. And to be perfectly honest, most people I know do too. Every year I had a friend who would say to me, okay, do you have dishcloths? I need to buy a bunch because I'm doing family pet presents. And she basically just gave all the women in her family, like, whenever they'd meet for Christmas, she'd give them all like a new dishcloth and like a bar of soap or something. Hello, Summer! Summer's in the house. Summer has been a member for 68 months. Thank you, Summer. Summer says, hey guys, are you excited for the pending Switch 2 announcement? I burnt myself out on crochet with the blankets, LOL, so I'm reading and playing games a bit. I hear you. Yes, we are excited. I'm very interested to see if they've made any major changes or updates. I started Stardew Valley all over again. I started a whole new farm for 2025, so that's been keeping me occupied the last little while. That makes me so happy. I love that game so much. That's 2 rows in. Linda's asking for a baklava pattern. Yes, those are the ones, those are really good for skiing, especially in this country. Nice and warm. Oh wow, Mary Maxim, you mailed out during the postal strike, Crocus? No wonder it took 6 weeks to get to you. That is a bummer. And I agree with Regina. The yarn on Amazon has become greatly overpriced. They used to have really good deals like years ago. And they used to have something called add-on deals, and their add-ons were something like if you already had an order that was like, I don't know, say $25 or more, whatever you were buying tallied to 25, you could get these add-on deals that were extra cheap. And they often had yarn in those add-on deals. And so I bought a bunch of yarn years ago in those add-on deals, and it was a great deal, but they don't do the add-on deals anymore, at least not that I have seen. And I have not found yarn at a really good price or a deal on Amazon in years. Yeah, so I don't buy yarn from Amazon anymore. Yeah, it's too expensive. I typically like to buy my yarn in person, unless it's something I'm already familiar with and I'm just restocking. And if I'm restocking, I'll buy online, and typically I'll order from Lens Mills. Mary Maxim is fabulous, but they carry a lot of stuff that I need to see in person because it's like not a name I'm familiar with. So I like to go there when I can, whenever I'm in Paris, which isn't very often, but when I am, I like to visit Mary Maxim in person. All right. That's 4 rows already in that lovely lime green. Oh man, this is cheerful. This is already making me smile. I used a couple of the Granny Square patterns from last year's magical Granny Square calendar blanket to make some dishcloths. Some of them lend themselves to being dishcloths a little more than some of the other designs, but I did a little bit of that over the holidays. I love granny squares for a million things, but granny squares also, a lot of them, make really good dishcloths. Nico. Yes, I think Amazon's trying to make their money back after a lot of interesting business decisions. Katie! Hey, Katie! Katie's been a member for 17 months. Thank you, Katie. With a membership milestone, Katie says, cute. We have Hobby Lobby and a Joanne nearby. I haven't crocheted since I got into a car accident. Oh, gosh, and messed up my thumb in November. I can't wait to get going. Wow. Well, heal first. That's first and foremost. It is never a good idea to not listen to your body. But if you are in the mood to craft and you physically don't feel you can, you have some other interesting options. You can research crafts. You can assort your craft material into clear Ziploc bags that are clearly labeled for the project you want to do. You can create boards on Pinterest or your other favorite social media group. I love Pinterest, of projects you want to investigate or maybe try or, just use for inspiration. You can get your project journal going. So you can do a little bit of scrapbooking there. You can make notes. You can print out patterns. You can, go through your yarn stash and grab little snatchets of your yarn and maybe like tape them in because that's like the sample yarn you want to try. There are a whole lot of things you can do to prepare for craft projects if you're physically not capable of doing the actual crafting at the time. And I think we all go through that. We sprain our wrists, we hurt ourselves, we have arthritis flare-ups, we have accidents, maybe you've just strained your muscles in general and need to take a little break, or maybe your Crojo is kind of suffering. My Crojo suffers at the beginning of the year because I come out of the Christmas season and I still want to make Christmassy stuff. Like, I still want to make cute little Christmas ornaments and just tiny little projects to hang on the tree and things that are cute. I still want to do that. So trying to sort of put Christmas away and switch to January when, you know, what's the next thing? Valentine's? Okay, fine. Well, that's why in January I love to do useful things like dishcloths, like baskets. I love to sort of set up the year. I do a lot of planning in January, and I don't do as much crochet because I just, A, I guess physically I should probably take a break. B, it takes me a while to change my mental state. And C, January plays havoc with, I guess, probably a lot of us. It's dark, it's cold, you've got 3 months more of winter kind of weighing on you. And here in the Great White North, it's just bleh, dark, cold, gray, yicky. And it's hard. It's hard to be kind of like motivated to crochet because you're like, well, what's the point right now? Well, you know what? For me, I need a stack of dishcloths. So that's what I'm working on. I love this. This looks nice and cheerful, eh? Okay, so
I'll do one dish with that.
you'll do one dish with this. I might actually get you to do some dishes with this. All right. Will I?
Penny's dishes.
Which, you can do Penny's dishes. I need to add a little border. So our pattern, just a reminder, if you're just joining us, we've got a free crochet pattern for our V-Stitch Dishcloth. It's on our website. Mr. InStitches has the website workshop page. It's pinned at the top of the chat. And I also have, we have an original tutorial for this too. I'll make sure that's linked below. So if you want to see the short form version of this, that's available. But I thought today we would stripe the pattern as opposed to just making an all one color, which was the original, because I just love how this A, changes the look of it, and B, it's fun. C, it's a good scrap buster if you've just got bits of cotton left over you want to use up. Diane, member for 45 months. Hi, Diane. Diane's in the chat. She says, Jayda, Yarnspirations is having a huge sale. You need to check it out. Ooh, I've never ordered from Yarnspirations. What's that? Is that, are they pretty good? I haven't done that. I've been, Sheila wants to know, how do you post your pics to the channel? You send us your photos at the Etsy shop. So you go to our Etsy shop, you click on message seller, and you can attach a photo in your message. You either, if you're on a mobile device, you click on the little camera button. And if you're using a computer, you click on the little landscape picture, that's a little square landscape picture that's inside the big message box. You send us your photos, and then we create little roundup photos, photo collages in our community post tab. And we're going to be sharing some of last year's finished calendar blankets soon, because we are getting close to the announcement of the 2025 calendar blanket project. Okay, so I think I'm gonna, will I just continue with this green all the way around, or shall I change colors again? What do you think, mister?
Well, what's the options?
Well, I've got a lot. I could go back to one of these, or I could do a completely different color. I've got a peachy color. That's kind of nice. I've got a darker blue color. That's kind of fun. I've got...
Leave them all on screen.
All right. I've got... so I've got these guys. I've got some variegated yarns. So that's got the green in it and it's white, but it doesn't have the pink in it. It does have the blue though, so that's not bad.
I think you should stick with a solid color.
I think so too.
So the green would look cool, the red would look good, the dark, the pink.
I think I'll just stick with one of these.
I'd say stick with the green.
Yeah, I like the green. The green's happy. Okay.
Yeah, stick with the green.
Sticking with the green. All right, so easy peasy. No need to change. I don't need to cut my yarn. If you are changing colors for your border, fasten off at the end of your last row. I've done 15 rows in total. And chain one. So you can join your new yarn with a slip stitch and chain one. If you're not changing colors, just chain one. We're not turning. We're going to work down the first raw side, or what I call the raw side of the square. I'm going to attempt to basically work 20 single crochet down the side. Now you can use half double crochet. You can use double crochet. If you're going to use double crochet, chain two instead of just one. But I like single crochet, so there's no rhyme or reason to this. You're just going to evenly space-ish 20 or so single crochet down the edge. Now, this doesn't have to be exactly 20. I just say aim for 20. All I'm doing is kind of just putting my hook through yarn along the side of the rows. I'm just kind of putting my hook where it just naturally feels like it would go for the next stitch if I actually had stitches I was working into. So I'm kind of just grabbing loops. And I honestly don't care how many stitches I put in here. I say 20, aim for 20, but like I say, it's a dishcloth. Do not worry if you have 20, 19, 23, doesn't matter. But you will try to do roughly the same number on the other side, but doesn't matter. I'm going to try and hide these little tails as I go. So let me get my hook under there. Now I tend to crochet pretty tightly, so I'm not too worried about my little tails coming undone. If you are concerned about your tails coming undone, then you might want to weave them in back and forth underneath your existing stitches. But it's a dishcloth, so don't overthink it. When you get down to the bottom and you're looking at that first chain you made, your first foundation chain, you're going to work 2 single crochet into that first foundation chain, and that just turns your corner. So 2 is the only 2 in that first foundation chain. That's all you need. And then you're going to single crochet in each of those foundation chains all the way across. And I'm working over yet another little tail. And you'll have about 27 single crochet across the bottom. Well, actually, no, more like 29. But again, just try to get a single crochet in each foundation chain. Don't worry too much about counting. When it comes to something like a dishcloth, I like to include numbers. So the actual stitch count, I include that so that at least you've got, something to aim for. But it's not as important as stitch count is in other projects. Regina says Yarnspirations is having a 70% off sale. I will have to go and check that out. Amanda, if you've got issues with your yarn tails popping out, try cutting longer tails and weaving them back and forth a few more times, because the more you weave your tail back and forth, you do a couple things. One, you're making it go back and forth, so it makes it more difficult to completely pop out. And two, the more you weave a tail back and forth through the same stitches, the tighter it gets, the more compressed and snug it gets around that yarn tail, which makes it less likely for it to be able to pull out, because there's a lot of stitchery and extra yarn kind of pressing against it. It makes it a snugger fit. So longer tails, try that for 2025. Try longer tails when you are starting, snipping off longer tails. Try that and see if it helps. Also, if you're using really slippery yarn, like if your acrylic's really slippery, like it's got a nice sort of soft, silky finish, those tails will slip out a lot faster than others. 2 single crochet in the last chain. Turn your work, and then you're going to single crochet as best you can. Try to match what you did over here. I think I did about 20. I didn't even count. I don't care. I'm not going to count because I just want to enjoy the process of these colors all coming together and making myself a nice fresh new dishcloth. I'm going to pop this in the washing machine right after today's live stream, and I'm going to put it into regular rotation in the sink because I want some nice cheerful bright colors to stare at while I'm doing the dishes this January. I don't mind doing the dishes. I actually kind of enjoy doing the dishes. The only thing I don't like is washing cutlery. Anybody else? I can't stand washing cutlery. It drives me.
Do the cutlery first.
Drives me bananas. I don't mind washing anything else, but cutlery, oh, drives me crazy. Okay, I have a few tails to like work over here.
We're like Nico. I only use my dishwasher as a drying rack. So do we.
Yeah, yes, Nico. Our dishwasher is an expensive drying rack. We have pretty plates. If any of you have watched the channel for very long, you'll know that we've got that pretty Royal Albert. It's the mostly white plate with the pretty little roses around the edge with the gold around the edges. We got it. It was our fancy china that we got for our wedding, and 20 years in, we're like, why do we have this beautiful plateware that we never use? Let's use it. So we use our beautiful fancy china as our everyday plateware because YOLO. And I love it. It's the most beautiful. I love it. I have always loved this plateware print. I still love it. I absolutely adore it. It's just so pretty. And I don't want it ruined. Dishwashers are great, but they wreck your plates. They sandblast everything. So I do everything by hand, and I put it in the dishwasher to dry. What was that, sweetie?
Even Penny gets served.
Yes, even Penny gets served on fancy dishes. She has her own set of fancy dishes. You're going to work 2 single crochet in the first of those stitches. It would have been either the half double crochet or the chain 2 at the top of the last row of your V-stitch, and then you're going to single crochet in the top of every half double crochet and into the chain 1 spaces in between. So don't miss the chain 1 spaces. You can just crochet right into the space though. You don't have to crochet into the actual chain. And you're just basically half double crocheting in each stitch all the way across, but you don't have to try and jam your hook into the chain if you can't manage it. You can just work right into the space, or if you can use the chain, go ahead. Again, it's a dishcloth. Something else I like to add to most of my dishcloths is a little like, excuse me, hanger. Sometimes I hang a dishcloth. Usually I don't. I usually have it just sort of draped over the middle partition of the kitchen sink. But on occasion, I do like to hang them, especially if I make like a really pretty one. So I will include a little hanging, like a little hanger on the corner of this just before I fasten off. Royal Albert for dogs. You know what? I googled it. They did come up with pet dishes at one point. I thought that makes sense because people want to put, pretty dishes on for their pets. Okay, chain 12 for a little hanger. You don't have to, but if you want to, you can chain 12. I find 12 is a nice thing. And then you can join with a slip stitch to the top of the first single crochet you made, or right back in the same place that you just fastened out of. However you want to finish off that corner. Again, it's a dishcloth. Don't overthink it. We're looking for a nice warm-up project. I love these. It's useful. It's cheerful and bright. It's a good way to use up cotton scraps if you have any. It's a nice way to bust into a new ball of cotton if you've got one. It's completely useful. If you don't want to use it yourself, you can tuck it into the make-ahead stash and give it to somebody else. I find most people, even though they're like, oh, like nobody thinks to bring a dishcloth as a gift. Homemade dishcloths are always appreciated, if not right in the moment, then after the fact. They feel nice, you know, they have a nice feel to them. They're also pretty good at scrubbing. I'm just weaving in the tail. Make sure I don't split that yarn. This Bernat Handicrafter yarn is great for dishcloths, but it is kind of on the splitty side, so that's my one issue with it, but that's why I like it for dishcloths. Don't have to think about it much. I'm just gonna make my corners kind of cornery. I like to pinch them. And there we go. One brand new half double crochet V-stitch dishcloth. Ah, oh, cheerful. Nice cheerful colors. I've got a hot pink, an aqua, and a lime green. Puts me in a summery kind of mood. And it'll make doing the dishes a little less boring. Nice way to practice that half double crochet V-stitch. And a nice way to warm up the old fingers. Dishcloths are really handy. We have a free pattern, free written pattern for this over on the website. So if you haven't picked it up already, make sure you pop over to the website. Mr. InStitches has the link pinned up top in the chat. We'll make sure it's in the live or in the description box too afterwards. But pop over to the pattern workshop page. You can have any of the free patterns there that you like, but just scroll down until you see the picture of the purple half double crochet V-stitch dishcloth. It's a picture of me holding it. So that's the dishcloth thumbnail. You'll see the PDF file linked directly beneath it. You just click on that and it'll pop up. You can download it or print it from there. All of the patterns on our pattern workshop page are free, so please feel free to avail yourself of any of them. And we do have a tutorial for this pattern, just using one solid color. It's the original tutorial that we have. And I'll make sure that's also linked in the description box too a little later on today. Yeah, so a Monday tutorial. It's the first Monday tutorial, Monday live stream tutorial of 2025. And we're getting it off to a useful start. A nice utilitarian beginning for the year. All right, something useful. I love it. I love useful things. Crocus is wondering about a quiet book for her granddaughter. Any suggestions? I've never made a quiet book. I think those are kind of fun. They're like, they put me in mind of a little game that I had when I was a kid. It was basically a whole bunch of shapes with buttonholes and then like a button board that you could like button the shapes onto. So when I think of a quiet book, I kind of think of that. I think of like a felt board that you can tack little felt pieces to and then peel them off and then put them back on again. These are nice quiet activities. So if you want it all in one little book, then I'm thinking, you know, a pocket that opens up that you can like slip a little doll in and out of. Maybe something that you can button different shapes to. So a pocket that holds all these little shapes that you can button down. Maybe a similar idea, but with Velcro. Yeah, stuff like that. That would appeal to me when I was that age. That's how I would think about working my way through designing one of those books. What would I have liked at that age? Oh my goodness. All right, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful week ahead of you. We will see you here on Friday. And yeah, I hope you had a nice time sitting here doing a little crochet. If you were working on a project, I hope you got a few rows in, had a chance to sort of kick back and relax and maybe sip a cup of tea. And if you're making some dishcloths along with me, then I hope you had a chance to finish one. It's nice to sit down, start a project, and finish it all in one sitting. Makes you feel like you've accomplished something. That's another nice thing to do at the beginning of the year. Try a little project that you can start and finish in a single go because you feel like you accomplished something. And that feeling can be rare when all you do all day is sort of type numbers into boxes like a lot of us do these days. Thank you, Janet, for picking up a pattern at the shop. All right, have a great week, everybody. Stay safe, stay crafty, stay happy. Bring out those happy colored yarns. If you need a little blast of something, dive into your stash, find the yarn colors and yarn textures that make you smile or make you excited or maybe you forgot about so they feel like they're new all over again, and put them in your face and start brainstorming. What kind of projects do you want to make? What was the thing that you bought that yarn for? Did you buy that yarn with anything in mind? Maybe it's time to give that yarn a purpose. These are the things that we can think about as we sift through the first couple of weeks of January and settle into 2025. I will see you guys Friday. Have a great week. Stay safe and crafty, and all the good things. Good vibes, good tidings, all that stuff.